Okay.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. It's 5:07 p.m. Thanks everyone for being here. Roll call, Bruce Hayward. John Roman. Thank you very much. I'd like to ask for a moment of silence to honor those folks that lost their properties and their lives in the devastation in California, and also to say thanks to all the first responders that have worked so hard to save what they can. So if we could have a moment of silence. Thank you very much. Okay, adoption of the agenda. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. Motion. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on tonight's agenda? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Okay, motion carries. Approval of the minutes from our last meeting. I want to say thanks to Kim. Kim, I always appreciate your meetings your minutes every meeting. They're always very helpful. So thanks. So entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Motion. No motion. I'm sorry. No motion. Okay.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Okay, motion carries. Public comment. I think we have some folks that would like to speak this evening. You have 3 minutes. Public comments. The board will not respond. We can't respond to any of your comments this evening. We certainly appreciate them very, very much. Anybody want to go first? Is that Maribeth?
I can go first, yeah.
Okay.
I would just like, I have a proposition, just because it seems like it could easily be a conflict of interest for somebody to appoint their own overseers. I would like to propose that the board rewrite their bylaws so that the board is appointed maybe by nominated and then by public vote instead of being appointed by Mr. Tully, as that can easily be to us.
I'm sorry, but they're not appointed by me.
Oh, they're not?
No.
I did not know that.
No, we ask around. I check with people within I'm sorry, it's not really my time to speak, but we ask with inside the school, we ask with people in the community because we have to have community members, and we get 2 or 3 people that are interested. They come meet with the board, and then the board is the one that votes.
But who finds them? But you find them? Or...
I have found people that are interested outside in the community. Inside, I put it out there with who's interested to people that are willing to put in the time.
And I've been here for 7 years, so I just wonder if maybe it could be more of a broad net, to the big more public announcement that this is what is happening. It just. That would
make sense. Thanks.
I'm next on the list. I'm Tina.
Tina.
Hi. I'm not a public speaker and a little nervous, so bear with me. I didn't come to the last general council meeting, but I did come to the meeting we had before that to discuss the building that kind of was all over the map. I'm here today because I have some concern. I have 4 children in the school. One graduated last year. She's doing amazing. I have 2 other kids here, 11th, 3rd, and kindergarten. They love their teachers. They love their school. I love the school. I love that it's small. It's a community. I don't have to worry about things here that I would have to worry about in a big public school. We were so lucky to get in here. Grandfather, all my kids were here. And in fact, my best friend's son is now here. And I tell everybody, anybody I meet, take your kid from there, apply here, bring your kids here. And I'm adamant about that because there's a foundation at this school that was, sorry, I don't know why I'm so nervous, I get nervous. But what was told to us about this school when we came here was true. It was amazing. The teachers were amazing. It was a community. It was a family. And at some point, the school experienced some disconnect between families, between teachers, between the principal. And I feel like at this point, things have gotten out of control. And I'm here, and I'm speaking because I'm concerned. I won't say who I've spoken to, but there are teachers that are concerned, unhappy, maybe even willing to leave at this point. And if the teachers are unhappy, then the parents can feel it, the kids can feel it. My concern is that my kids come here and they get the education that they're promised, and they're in a safe environment with happy, friendly teachers. And so I know if I'm having a horrible day, or I'm having an issue with the boss, or I may not be the best I can be at home with my children. And these teachers are human. And so I feel that this can come off in the classrooms eventually. And I don't want to lose these teachers. We're already down a Chinese teacher. We're down a music teacher. Miss Nikki, who's in the front in the white shirt, she was absolutely amazing. She has 2 kids here. And there's talk of other teachers leaving, teachers who I respect enough. I don't know Mr. Tully personally, but I know that it's involving something that's going on that I don't really know what it is. But I don't want my children to lose their teachers, and I want them to be in a good school. And I need people to do their due diligence, who have control over these things, to make sure that doesn't happen.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Megan?
Hi, I'm Megan Martin. We're all maybe here, but not. I just want to give it.
Can you speak up just a bit?
I have a voice disorder and I cannot speak loudly as a result of not having some part of. I can come up closer to you, but I cannot speak loud.
That'd be great.
Come up closer. It is because I taught for many years and damaged my voice. I hope this is okay. I was, so I spoke last week extensively and shared some notes, and I don't want to repeat any of that. What I do want to say is that I am even more concerned than I was before around the potential loss of teachers and families at this school. I know of a number of teachers, 4 who are interviewing or doing like that are in a process or have shared with me that, and I'm very concerned that at this school who has just recently, like this last week, lost 2, I think are very important personnel. And if we start losing more teachers, and then that is getting out, that the families are going to start leaving, and that this school will, I don't know whether or not it could survive, but will fundamentally, radically change. And I want so that there's more talk of that in my little world. And I'm very worried to an extent that is, I think, very concerning. And I think it is really related to leadership's ability to continue and create a safe community that does not involve sort of worry about whether or not someone is going to, how someone is going to address them, and how someone is going to blame them or other such things. And I'm just continue to be worried about it. And I really hope that everyone here is going to move forward in supporting that to not happen, because it would be really devastating. It is a really special place, and overall my family has been very, very extraordinarily happy here overall. But the school is a unique one. It is a tremendous privilege, I think, to lead a school like this, both because of its status in some ways and the way it's looked over, but also just for all the other reasons that it is a tremendous responsibility to oversee a group of diverse teachers on a special mission to carry out work in bilingual education and in an IB curriculum. There's a huge teacher shortage, and the teachers of the quality that we have here will not be rapidly replaced. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate all your comments very well. And the positive ones as well. It's good to hear that there are a lot of great things going on here at the school, so we appreciate it. Is there anybody else that wanted to speak? We'll give you an opportunity to speak right quick. Okay, we're good?
If I may, can I just give a little context? I promised my daughter a minute, so I'd like to, if that's okay.
Just a couple minutes. Okay,
And I'll talk about 2 sentences.
okay, thank you.
Somebody can mean well.
I'm sorry.
Somebody can mean well. They could not have ill intentions, and they can still inadvertently hurt someone. Okay. My daughter had an issue with a book with a racial word, the N-word. And it was a big thing in her class. She was out sick, they were told they could read it out loud, she came back, everybody said it's okay to say this word. Mr. Tully heard of it because I came into the school, spoke to Miss May, I was very upset. And so Mr. Tully addressed the class the next day. He went there, he talked to them, he asked if anybody had questions, they wanted to take any kind of classes, and received help. A few days later, my daughter was making copies, she's past president, she's about to graduate. And Mr. Tully had a conversation with her, I believe intentionally to make light of the situation. However, there were words used and examples given that then victimized her after this conversation. And so I think that it's important to really consider what we're saying, not only you all, but Mr. Tully. Because what my daughter took from that conversation is that she should carry on her life and get used to hearing the word NIGGERS and the blacks. And I don't feel that that's where we are in 2025. And so although the intention may not have been ill, that's what happened. And I don't know if that's a frequent thing and a frequent interaction, but that's a personal example.
Okay, thank you very much.
It's not the doorbell. It sounds like it. People.
Very good.
It was a translator arranged for a previous meeting, but there isn't one here today. Is that true?
That's true. On our meetings and online, it says if it's needed, it should be called to the school and arranged. I knew previously we would have people, so I did arrange it. I wasn't contacted about arranging one for tonight. We do have someone in here that probably can, but I don't know whether she feels like it's a conflict of interest.
Yeah, the major announcement that went out to the school went out yesterday about the meeting. And so you need that. And I think it's also probably at this point, I think it should be, I think for, I don't know, a large number of meetings, I think at this point it should be assumed that it's appropriate to have a translator. We have a very large bilingual and Spanish only speaking percentage within our school, and we attract that because we are a bilingual school. And there's no, it is appropriate in our state right, to teach them both English and Spanish. And that there's no specific language of anybody at the school or state. And so I think it is appropriate for this group to consider that
Thank you very much.
for the future.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Because we have individuals here who do not primarily speak.
Okay, we're gonna move on to finance update right now. Rebecca?
Okay.
The, bring it up.
So we're gonna go over December financials tonight.
Let me make this small because it won't let me totally minimize it.
Okay, I'm seeing that we don't have any bars. This,
Yeah. So no bars for approval tonight.
okay, so we'll move on to the vouchers then.
Yeah, so on page 2 is a listing of the vouchers for approval.
We move to page 3, or is that?
I think, for now, page 2. Oh,
Okay. I'm sorry.
I have a question. We're on page 2, right?
Yeah.
Looking for you. We have 3 going out to J&T. What's that?
So that is somebody's 403B contribution for payroll. It's a payroll type. So basically, it's like going into like
The account.
the equivalent of a 401k account, but for teachers for 403B.
It's unusual to be the exact same.
No, because it's like if someone has $200 a paycheck going out, that's for every paycheck. We had 3 paychecks in December, so it's always the exact same amount.
It's the same individual or 3 different individuals.
Yeah, so it's like putting money into a retirement. Yeah. So it's like,
Yes,
But this is.
it's the same individual.
yeah, so like we have like 2 or 3 people who contribute. So it's like those same 2 or 3
Oh,
people
okay.
every time. So that's why it's the exact same.
There's a deduction from the payroll.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the payment vouchers as presented.
How much it-
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the payable vouchers? Motion carries. Okay, financial statement reports.
Okay, so next we have the statement of revenues and expenditures for the month of December. So this is revenue coming in and expenditures going out across the funds. So this is just basically a summary of December's activity. So next, page 12, please.
Mark, how's the food services?
Food service is great. We've gone up about, I would say, almost 100% from the meals we served last year, and the food waste is way down.
In terms of reimbursement.
Reimbursement's slow. So although we pay out, they're a few months behind, which is normal from what we observed last year when we were with APS. So the state's a little slower. The federal government, of course, reimburses their part of it. And they're maybe a little quicker, but in the end, it seems to all come in. So
Okay.
I want to say I love seeing field trips.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I was saying I like to see the field trips on here. So there's a class that saw the duck trips, so I thought that was really cool.
Our teachers have really picked up the field trips, especially MY, well, both levels.
So cash liquidity across all funds, we've pretty much stayed like consistent this year, which is in alignment with our, having a balanced budget. Our operational cash liquidity, we're at 7.43 months of operational cash.
Is there a target we try to reach?
That was actually a question that one of the department heads at PED asked me today, like, what do you like to see? And so I mean, I always think like between 4, to 6 months is a really healthy spot for a school. Our cash liquidity is like a little bit higher, but we've set aside operational funds for the building purchase, and that's, well, one of the reasons. So, I mean, cash-wise, the school's in a very healthy position, which, hasn't always been the case. So,
What would that number change to just roughly? If we did make the building purchase and use that, the funds we have.
yeah, so it would probably drop down to about 5 months.
Is that a recommendation from the PED, 5 months?
They don't have a recommendation.
Okay.
They were just.
They were asking her.
Okay.
Bruce, that was more me.
Okay.
I just, when I first got here, they almost didn't make summer payroll. And for me to sleep at night, I need to make sure we have enough money that if something happens, and we've been able to take a $500,000 and put it toward the building along with House Bill 33 and SB 9. So to hold that in case there is a problem, or if we grab a building to dedicate some to furniture, moving, things like that, is very important.
So back to the old days, it'd be like 3%, 3 months. Cover payroll for 3 months.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, like, I was telling him today too, for charter schools, it's a little bit higher than it would be for a district, right? A district, they get a lot of other funding sources, even for buildings, right? They can go out for bonds and have debt. Lily and I were kind of talking about that, the debt piece, and charter schools aren't allowed, to do that. So charter schools really do need to have more money set aside in, their operational funds than a district, just because they don't have like as many funding sources. We have to cover all of our reimbursement funds up front. And so yeah, so I think the school is definitely in a very, healthy position, and when they do find a building, to get into that lease purchase, I'm gonna go over that. Actual expenditures today, so 67% is going directly into compensation and benefits, 12% into the building and other properties, so utilities, things like that. And then we have 10% into professional and technical services, and then 6% into other services. And other services is pretty much like the student nutrition program.
On the 67% of the compensation benefits, does that include all staff?
Yes.
Well, that's remarkable. Because I know a lot of schools, it's up in the 80s and 90s. Salaries and benefits, percentage of the budget. So it doesn't leave you a whole
So
lot.
for
of
charter
flexibility.
schools, it's low. It's usually lower. Again, like districts have very high because they don't have to spread their money as thin, right? But charters, the building piece for charters is one of the biggest expenditures, and that's why that number isn't, up in the 80s or 90s, is because districts don't really have to pay, for their buildings. Like the PSFA will cover 90% of a new building. They can get debt money, bond money for the other 10%. So I think it's actually, to me, it actually is like a little bit high for a charter to be at that 67% for compensation and benefits, just because they, have to spend and all that other stuff. So I think it looks good though. It's a good number.
We pay our people well.
Yeah.
Pay them a lot better than APS.
A big
They're
portion of
worth it.
the
That's great.
school's money does go to pay teachers, and
Sure.
so that's always good to see, prioritize. So if you'll go to
My mother,
One of your kids?
she hates that.
Page 28.
She left me a message though.
So here we have what we currently have like set aside for building purchase. So as of the end of December, we were at over 2.8 million. So this does include like the property tax revenue as well as the operational set aside. We talked about the 500,000. By the end of June, we're estimating to be at a little over 3.1 million. And a big chunk of that actually will come in the month of June just because of when property tax collections are. So, but that's where we're on track to be at that 3.1 at the end of June. And then lastly, we have the bank reconciliation, page 29. No differences to the general ledger. And the rest is just the support for the bank rec. That's it.
Thank you.
Accessibility shortcuts.
Questions? Thank you very much. Appreciate it. As always, you do such a great job.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Two parents had just notified me they didn't understand that they needed to star their name when they signed in order to speak. And I'm wondering if you would allow them to speak. And they have contacted Paul, who is on the call, and she's willing to translate.
And who's on the call that's going to translate?
Mama.
Let's see here.
Hey guys.
You don't have any problems with it?
Maybe bring some chairs so they're real close to the microphones and all that can be here.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Mabel, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you all. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, we'll bring them up and you can translate from them.
Sure. And full disclosure, I am not a professional translator. I will try my best. I understand because of the situation we don't have a translator, but I will try my best.
Thank you. If you keep your comments to 3-4 minutes. Gracias.
De nada.
Señora, sus comentarios de 3 a 4 minutos.
Ok, yo estoy aquí para saber exactamente o comentar qué recursos tiene la escuela
I
para
am
la
here because espérame, señora, espérame. I am here because I want to ask what resources does the school have?
Mis hijas han tenido referencias para varios programas fuera de aquí del estado que
My
serían
daughters have been offered several programs outside of the state.
Para que ellas puedan acudir como a clases, cursos, perdón, que serían de interés para la escuela, pero no he podido encontrar el punto ideal para que me ayuden con eso.
I have not been able to find help, essentially, to get my daughters to go to these courses that would be beneficial to our school.
Sé que sería de beneficio para ellas, pero también para la escuela.
I know it would benefit them, but also for the school.
Han sido clases, cursos de gran interés, que es como de robótica, de ciencias, de muchas cosas de beneficio, pero no he encontrado quien me apoye o me coordine con eso.
The courses have been good. They're courses for engineering, science. I just haven't, robotics, I apologize. I have not been able to find somebody at the school to support me with this.
Yo quisiera saber si la escuela cuenta con un programa donde se les pueda ayudar a estos estudiantes y motivarlos para salir adelante.
I want to know if the school has some sort of program that can support my daughters and help them get ahead.
Since we're kind of freewheeling here, may I? Mabel, if you would tell her if she will come and meet with me and Dr. Perea, we will explore some options and see what we can find.
Señora, si usted puede venir conmigo y con la señora Perea, vamos a explorar opciones para ver si la podemos ayudar.
Ya vine.
I already came.
Y la maestra Ana y el maestro Copeland fueron las personas que me mandaron links para que yo aplicara para ayuda de estas niñas.
I did. I came and Dr. Perea, and I apologize, I didn't get the other person's name, helped me sending me links so I could try to get help for my daughters.
Pero es triste llegar ahí y encontrar que te digan, no se puede, ¿por qué? Porque no va directamente de la escuela.
But it's sad to go there and find out that you can't get help because it's not directly for the school.
There are things we can look at. And if she'll come talk to me, I've got some connections. Maybe we can find something that will help.
Hay cosas que tal vez podemos hacer. Si usted viene a hablar conmigo, yo tengo conexiones y puedo ver si la puedo ayudar.
Ok, tengo otro punto. ¿Hay posibilidades que esta escuela se mejore o vamos a quedar en las mismas? ¿Tienen alguna propuesta que sea de beneficio para todos nosotros como padres?
I have another thing to say. Is that I want to make sure, I want to ask, is this school going to get better? Is it going to get better and be there, and is it going to work for the parents? Disculpe, señora, ¿me lo puede repetir porque no, se me fue?
Sí, que si hay, ¿qué propuestas tienen para una
What
mejora?
proposals do you have para una mejora, señora?
Sí,
What proposals do you have to better this school? That's the question that I have.
porque todos estamos muy preocupados por lo que está pasando alrededor de la escuela, tanto como las idas de varios maestros que eran de nuestro interés, muchas cosas que todos sabemos que están pendientes.
Espéreme, señora. Espéreme, señora. I am really worried about what's happening at the school. We're losing teachers that were of interest to us. I'm really worried about everything that what's happening at the school. Siga, señora.
Y pues queremos tener una claridad cuando termine el año escolar. Muchos estamos optando por llevarnos a nuestros hijos a otras
We
escuelas.
want to have clarity, and honestly, many of the parents are already discussing leaving this school.
Y yo se lo digo porque en mi caso traigo en total 12 niños a la escuela cada
And
día.
I'm saying this because I personally drive some of the kids to school. I bring 12 kids to the school every morning.
Y tengo 3 niños inscritos para el próximo año escolar que van a mi guardería, que están para venir para acá, pero a como están las cosas, no sabemos.
3 other additional kids that have signed up, but based on everything that's happening, I'm not really sure that's going to happen.
Y ahí disculpen
Gracias.
que me haya pasado mis 4 minutos. Tengo muchas cosas, pero sé que tengo que dar la oportunidad a los demás.
And I'm so sorry I went over my time. I understand that I have to give time to others. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Gracias, señora.
Anybody else?
Yes, Mark, I'd like to make a couple comments. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, who's speaking, please?
It's Tiana.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Can you? All right, so I got just a couple of questions. One, when was the last time we had an audit done on any of our financial? So that's one.
I'm sorry, but during this session, we can't enter into dialogue. We're prohibited by law from entering into discussions during this portion of a board meeting.
Which law is that?
It's the Open Meetings Act that governs these meetings.
Yeah, New Mexico Open Meetings Act. We're prohibited from making comments as a board in response to comments that are made at the public input.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I have a comment here. The entire session so far, people have been interjecting and making comments and answering questions, and now we can't when we talk about audit. Thank you.
I suggest that if you have questions, you submit them to us in writing so that we can respond to them at our next board meeting. We can't respond at this meeting, but we can certainly respond to your comments at our next meeting.
Okay.
If
So
we have
what-
written comments, something
Yes.
specific to respond
Sure,
to.
sure, I will, yes, because we have a video recording. So,
Okay, thank you.
I will definitely email that to you. I can certainly do that. Do you want to, Mark, can you type in his email or who am I supposed to send the email to? Is that to the president of the governing council, or can you type in his email address in the meeting group chat for me so I can do that, please?
Yes, I will do that. And if you look at the chat,
Mm-hmm.
I violated law.
You're right. Because I don't see any in the chat.
Okay.
And then I do have one other question that concerns recess.
Are you with us, Mr.?
Hmm?
Okay, again, we can't respond to your question.
Tiana, do you have any more comments?
Right, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I have one last comment, and it concerns recess because it seems like the only thing the kids could do during recess is soccer and tag. Is they can't bring anything to recess to play with, like maybe card games or something. And I was wondering if we can possibly expand that option to card games or some kind of games, because we're very limited on what to do during recess as it is. Yes, so the kids are easily bored. So I like to put that on the table. As I'm not sure why I was told by my child that they weren't allowed to bring anything to recess, anything outside to recess. So they couldn't bring card games, box games or whatever it is, just to occupy their time. So that's something I like to suggest that maybe we.
Email address is your Gmail address.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Tolley's sending you my email address.
Okay, that's wonderful. That would be wonderful. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you. Last call.
Yes, I would like to bring something up too. Mrs. Valerie, can you hear
I'm
me?
sorry. Whoever's,
I got it.
okay.
Can I be heard?
Can you please come up here? Thank you. It's hard to hear.
She's on a crutch.
Oh,
Sorry, no.
Okay.
So I'm here because in this school. I'm coming here because my sister have two children right here too. And they told me, oh, it's at the school, but it's the same thing. When I come in for my children, I speak a little bit English, but I'm trying. So when I come in here for my children and I ask her, how's your day in school? Oh, mom, Mr. Muffin or Mr. It's not at the school. Keelan. Miss Nikki. Keelan. We don't have a teacher for music, and I don't know how long you don't have a Chinese teacher. So I think this is the best school. I don't know if this is a problem. So this makes sense.
Thank you very much.
I have a few questions or concern to bring to.
I'm sorry, we're gonna move on because we can't answer questions during this time. So
It's
thank
not-
you very much.
So why every
Appreciate
time I try to talk, I can't talk?
it. Okay, next item on our agenda is foundation.
We'd like to make, bring some issue to. Can I please talk?
Oh, sorry, is this somebody different?
No, it's the same. It's valid.
Oh, okay.
You know, folks, I want to say I'm really sorry about all this because our hands are tied by the laws of the state of New Mexico and the rules that govern public education here in New Mexico and what our authority is and what we can do. I can tell you that we sympathize a lot with you. We're hearing what you're having to say. When there's an opportunity for us to respond at our next board meeting to some of these things that come up, we will. I'm just sorry we can't do it right now.
So even though what we said today is not in writing, you can still respond at the next board meeting.
Yes.
What
Yeah.
about from the last meeting?
If you look on, you probably don't have a copy of our agenda, but I will be. Thank you. All right. CIS Foundation update. Thanks very much for accepting the invitation to come here this evening. I think, you know, we're all partners in this, in the same endeavor together. And I think there's stuff about y'all that we don't know, and there's stuff about us that y'all don't know. I'd like to see that we develop a closer relationship as we go forward and working together. So please, floor is yours.
Oh, thank you. Do you want me to go up there or stand up?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just stand and run a volunteer.
Stephanie,
I'm
right?
Stephanie Hansen, yeah. I've been one of the chairs for the foundation for a couple of years. There's 3 of us out of 4 members here tonight because they also serve on the GTA, so doing double duty in some cases. We have met some goals of having a full board for the first time in years, so that's really exciting. It's 2 co-chairs, a secretary, and a treasurer. Our treasurer's not here today, but we are regularly meeting on the 4th Thursday of every month. Keeping up with the requirements of a 501c3. And just kind of bringing stability back to the foundation after the pandemic. We're going into a phase of trying to figure out how to fundraise. We have our silent auction during International Day, which has always been the main thing that the foundation has done. We're exploring other options, and we will start to look into how we can reach out more to the community. At this point, that's probably where more fundraising will have more success with fundraising. And what else can we share? We're just trying to keep stable, keep our minutes, keep our organized stuff. We purged a bunch of old stuff that we didn't have to have in our files. And then we're trying to shift everything from random platforms online to just Google. So like a Google Suite, which is through the school. So we have our CIS Foundation at Corrales. Is our, so everything's on that. So that's been kind of a big project over the past year or 2. Do we have questions?
How many members do y'all have?
So we don't really have any official members at large right now. We have filled out our board and that's it. So we are allowed to have members at large, but it's a struggle just to get our board. So that's what we're at. So maybe that'll be our next push is to get more members.
This,
People at our meetings.
this is the most stable it's been since before COVID. So they've done a real good job of coming together and getting a few constant members. We could use more parents though, definitely.
And really our bylaws are set in a way that we're only supposed to be in our positions for 2 years. And it has taken me almost 4 years of like being an official member of, we weren't really organized into a board when I first started, but I've been in the position, I can't even remember, I need to look it up. I think I've been in the position for 2 years. So I need to be moving out of my position. So and we can pull people from the community as well for the board. It does not have to be parents from the school. So we would like to do that. We'd like to stay within what the bylaws say. So if there are no parents or community members that anybody knows of that could help us out, that would be great.
Do you have specific dollar amounts that you're trying to raise this year? And do you have a specific project that you want to spend those funds on?
For the past 2 years, our goal has been just to raise enough to cover our costs, which is about $1,500 a year. Somewhere between like $1,300 and $1,500 for insurance and other things and stuff like that. So just to cover our costs at this point. When we are able to ramp up the fundraising, we've kind of run into a roadblock with not having like a purpose to fundraise so much. So we're going to need to work on creating a purpose and then sharing it with everyone. So in the past, it's always been building, new building, new building. Even like 10 years ago, it was all about the new building. And we've kind of lost enthusiasm for that, especially lately. So we can start brainstorming some ideas of what else to do, because really foundation funds are for capital improvement projects. They are to, separate from what PTA does, which I call it like the fun stuff. And I'm going like KPG, PTA, but they're also on the foundation board as well. So they do fun stuff. We do like maybe kind of boring stuff that people don't always know that that's coming from foundation. So it's a little bit harder to get enthusiasm to fundraise without kind of the excitement of a new building on the horizon, or with kind of the disappointment that I think a lot of parents felt. Well, and staff and administration, everybody. So yeah, as we kind of re-energize ourselves to get that goal and or have that goal of fundraising for the building, or maybe something else in the meantime. We are allowed to, if we agree on spending the money on something that somebody in the school wants, we're allowed to do that. So we just haven't even gotten to that point really yet, but kind of on the edge of doing more stuff.
Do you have any thoughts on how we could work together?
I think after the last meeting, I really felt like the community aspect of it, and after the meeting, I was just kind of thinking like, how are we going to do this? The flyer that I showed you when you came to our meeting last month, I realized like that's really geared to the community, people who have no reason to know that our school exists. It was all about like advertising basically, and maybe that's what the foundation needs to do. But we do have a meeting next Thursday, so if anybody's interested in coming, but yeah, kind of reaching out more to the community and letting people know about our amazing school and just all the programs that are offered here, and maybe fundraising that way too, because a lot of businesses want that tax deductible donation. So
Great.
I'm just speaking for myself and my own brain and what I thought after our meeting. But yeah, we have a meeting next Thursday, so if anybody wants to come in here in the library at 5:30 and online.
Thank you.
Would you remind us for, my husband has surgery that Thursday, but the next one after that, would you send out a reminder to the board or
Yeah.
an invitation to us? I'm putting it on my calendar right now.
We can add you to our email list.
Would you?
Yeah, if I can collect whoever wants to give us their email. Right, I'm just gonna leave it added too. And then if we could just.
It goes out on the board and it's secretary for that particular, if someone wants to write it, if you want to get. So she's really good about sending out stuff a couple weeks ahead of time and then at sort of as reminders, and then we send similar to you all, send the people, there's like 90 some people on that list, I think. Has anybody comes, but there is a distribution list about notifications of things that the foundation is doing. So if you we can add you to that list, and then you would get it all. Put it on there.
When you say the foundation, just the word boring and stuff, what does that mean exactly? So like like, they do like game nights and dances and fundraising, like they run and stuff, right? So what is it that the foundation does that's different? What do you mean by that?
So capital improvement projects, I think, for example, this is before I started, but that white fencing that goes around.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay.
That's just the best example.
Oh, no, that's perfect. I was like, what is she mean? I got it now.
Really all, we haven't, but anything, we just try to keep it steady and in existence and cover. We can really use help with the cyber protection. So we can talk about that at our meeting. So, and then this is Kate Pullman, she's the other coach. And we're missing Mona, she's our treasurer. Mona. But thanks for having us.
Well, thanks for coming. We'd like to have you back periodically. Anybody else have any questions?
I just want to say thank you for volunteering your time, all of you guys, for foundation. It's a big deal to be involved in your children's school. Right, yeah, I agree. And harder now to get involvement, it seems that it used to. Thanks for speaking.
PTA, thanks for coming.
Sure, so we are Megan again, and technically I'm the treasurer of the PTA. I'm also basically it's sort of acting president as well. We are not quite a full because we do not have an officer in our division. Our former president has stayed on and does support us, but she had a baby and is a little busy. And so we have distributed some of those things. So I am sort of the president and the treasurer at this point in time, but we are going to work to try and fix that soon, maybe. But previously, sir. We try and do the fun things. We are an official PTA. There are schools that are our schools and programs have use other terms. We are an official PTA that works with the major organization. We are not yet. We are sort of approved as a federal nonprofit, but not through the state yet. We have the paperwork and all of those pieces that sort of fell apart during the pandemic, and we are rebuilding some of those things that did not get continued after that. So we are almost in full compliance, that you have to do a whole lot of other things to get back into that. And we have submitted a lot of those things. We have to go through the sort of state, which works with the whole national PTA organization to be in compliance with their things, and that makes us eligible. So we are in the process of doing that, and we're pretty close. We hoped we would be there by November, December. But that's a little bit about our organization, but we're trying to get back there. We do I think a lot. You hear about a lot of activities. They're mostly here at the school. They're mostly the things that are run by the PTA. So we do activities, welcoming activities, parents with pastries, sort of morning things to everyone on campus. We organized the balloon loft thing in the morning. We did our first major fundraiser in a number of years this year with a fun run, and we raised almost $10,000, which is a pretty significant goal since for the last several years, the PTA PTAs are supposed to spend that during the same year, so that is also our goal. So we've been doing that by doing some activities at no cost for families, or really low cost, dances, dinner and game type activities, things like that. We've recently been on a thing to, we've spent a whole lot of money very recently trying to get little things for the teachers that they need sort of midpoint of the year. New pens, sharpeners, other things like that. So, and so we are in the process of doing supporting the teacher. We have several activities we're planning in the fall. We are trying to, I think, create community and support the teachers. And that's what we're up to, I guess.
They are the first PTA that, and Shelley, you may remember at one point, but with the book fairs we've had, we've earned all these scholastic dollars. And they actually offer to the teachers to come with, their wants and needs, and actually spending those scholastic dollars and getting the goods to the teachers. So I think that's a great step.
We did just have we had a week-long book fair in December, and it was according to Scholastic, it was the best book fair that has ever been at the school. And we raised something like $5,000 in terms of Scholastic dollars to purchase books. We've spent a very good portion of that. And I don't know, what else? The questions, we mostly get to do fun things. And they're not all fun in the preparation and the work to create them. It has been a lot of work, but also I think it has started to get more people on campus again. I think that has been difficult. As we talk about people being involved in things, like Katie and I are on both the foundation and the PTA, which shouldn't be, because we have other things to do. But it is, I think we're getting to a place where we are getting a little bit more slowly. Hopefully we'll continue to do that. Because I think that is, we have really amazing families here. I love classes of my children and the other families, and then think about like the village that is helping to raise your child, and I want to make that village a little bit bigger and warmer and bring us all together. So I think that's what we are trying to do, and we're not quite there, but I think we're heading in a good direction. As long as I don't burn out and she leaves us.
Same question. How many members do y'all have?
Well, not very many. We do have, so there's different, we have a few more parents were involved. So according to our PTA organization, in order to be a member, someone needs to pay a $12 or $15 fee. That has been hard to get parents to do another sort of thing. And it's actually been a reason where sometimes we've had discussions about, do we actually want to be a PTA or just want to call ourselves a parent teacher organization or some other term rather than being PTA and requiring that parents do that. The money does help a little bit us cover our costs and some other things, but we are, we have, I think, somewhere around 20 to 25 members who in the last year through begging some people, guilting some people. But we do have a number of other people who are who help out, but have not paid, but do support us. We'd love more we'd love to change the culture to be that everybody feels like they are part of the PTA in some way. But that is definitely, we're definitely not there yet. And that it really feels like this is everyone's PTA.
Thoughts on how we can work together?
I think the supporting, I mean, I don't know if I would probably be doing, I don't know. I think that in general, just having more, I think, conversations and knowledge about the school. It took me a really long time. I've been here for 4 years. It's taken me a really long time to understand some of the things about this school and the structure. You hear things, if you're a new parent here, I think you hear things about the PTA, you hear things about foundation, you hear things about, but they also feel very external, but they're really all should feel part of one's public school, right? And I don't know how to get that out or fully communicate it entirely, but if it feels, I think it would, to feel like this is a community of people working together and having conversations and feeling open to doing that. I think we continue to help that. But it's hard. There's been some disappointment this year, and it's hard to ask parents to do a whole lot more, but it would benefit us if everybody did that. So communicating about it, and also I don't know if there's some way to have but there's some way to educate parents more about each of these parts that supports the school, right? So parents are here today, they're not knowing exactly the rules, and I don't really know the rules about this meeting and other kinds of things. Can we educate everybody into knowing, like, this is what happens here. You can come here and talk about this. This is what, if you want to do this, you would go to the PTA. If you care a whole lot about the building and the fact that we don't have some things that we'd really like to have in the building, like the foundation is the place that you should go. And I don't know that I think we need to do a better job of educating and communicating with families about each of those pieces. I had a thought once upon a time that we could do some orientations in the beginning of the year for new families, but those haven't materialized because we thought that would give us things like that. So I think educating and communication.
Thanks. Appreciate it very much. Appreciate y'all, both of y'all. Any other members of the organization? Anybody else have questions for?
We have meetings the last Tuesday of the month from 7:30 in the morning to 8:30 in the morning. It's very early, and we generally meet in the library. Anybody is very welcome to ever come if they'd like to meet. We have one other officer who can't be here because of conflict, which the last Tuesday of the month, from 7:30 to 8:30.
Great. All right, moving on. Next item on the agenda, GC business. First item is response to public comments from last month. And after hearing the comments, I drafted a response. It's a draft that I'm proposing to the board this evening. Getting comments from them, and then with their approval, then we will make it a formal response back to you. I'm going to read through the response this evening, so you know, and the board knows as well. And so I would appreciate any comments, any adds, subtract, read, whatever, and then I'll ask for your approval before we make it formal to send out to make it part of our record as a GC. So I'll read it. Sorry, I'm going to read it word for word. On behalf of the CIS Governing Council, I would like to thank you again for your public comments at the December 17th, 2024 Governing Council meeting. We appreciate your willingness to share your concerns with us, and we would like to take this opportunity to address some of those concerns and issues. We take your comments very seriously, and here are our responses and actions we will be taking as a Governing Council, again, with their approval. Posting of notices. Although we are in compliance with the New Mexico Open Meetings Act, we were not notifying the faculty and the PTA of our GC meetings as we have stipulated in our recently adopted bylaws. We will be asking Mr. Tolley to ensure that the faculty and PTA are notified of the GC meetings. Additionally, we will remind everyone that our GC meetings online access and agendas are advertised on the CIS website. Speaking of the CIS website, we agree that the CIS website is not as updated, organized, and as user-friendly as we would like. We will be asking Mr. Tolley to direct school resources to ensuring the CIS website is updated and reorganized to make it more user-friendly. Head of school and IB program credentials, academics. We recognize the academic proficiency of our students is not where we all would like for it to be. We understand that the COVID pandemic had a huge negative impact on student learning in all schools, not just this school. It's our intent to review student data, program needs, and receive staff input to set new proficiency goals for our students and staff. Head of school and IB program credentials. It's our understanding Mr. Tolley has been employed as a CIS head administrator for 8 full years, with this being his 9th. During that time, CIS's IB program has been evaluated twice by the head organization, the IB program, is about to undergo a 3rd evaluation. In addition, APS has evaluated and reviewed CIS's academic program twice. To our knowledge, the credentials of the head administrator has never been an issue during any of these evaluations. However, we believe that ongoing professional development should be a component of any administrator, staff, or GC member. Let me state that again. However, we believe that ongoing professional development should be a component of any administrator, staff member, or GC member's growth as leaders and educators. Thus, the GC will be discussing possible ongoing training options for the GC, the administrative staff, and all of our staff members. General complaints and issues. CIS has a governance policy and procedure that is contained within the family handbook. The GC, the Governing Council, will be reviewing that policy and procedure and revising it if necessary. Comments regarding personnel. As per the New Mexico Personnel Act, school personnel are prohibited from being publicly discussed to protect individual rights. Conflict of our interest. The the GC bylaws clearly addresses what constitutes a conflict of interest. Again, thanks for your comments. So I offer that up to the governing council, fellow governing council members for your thoughts. Do you think we need to amend, delete?
So student proficiency, my specialty.
Sure.
This is just a response letter. This isn't how we're gonna receive that, right?
Correct.
It's completely a response, so that's something that we set up and share at another meeting, correct?
You bet.
So, since this is a proposal, we still need to discuss.
Sure. And what I envision, Shelley, is that, we have a committee together made up of parents, teachers, and administrators, and GC. And, what are our academic goals? We have a charter that specifies what our goals are as an organization, school. And so we need to in that charter, there are specific goals, I believe, that we have to meet every year in order to keep the school's certification. So I don't know what those are. I haven't been on the board long enough to know what those are, but I think we need to all revisit those and see what they are, and then maybe outline a strategic plan, a course of action for how we can improve.
Same for professional development, just setting up how, a lot of this is just free to how we set up, how it's.
These are things we know we need to do. And Dr. Perez, I think she mentioned to us a time or two that we need, GC members, we need to have some training, IV training. Love it. I don't know what kind of training that it is we need to have, when we can have it, how all that happens. So we have, some work to do ourselves, but I think those are points well taken. That these are things that we need to be aware of and concerned of, and I appreciate folks bringing these items to us.
I do too. I welcome parents being at this meeting. It's nice to see involvement. Really nice to see involvement.
Okay. Comments, then I'll entertain a motion to approve a response.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. I'll redraft this, make it a little more formal, and then I'll make it part of public information, and I'll be sending it directly to the people that spoke at our meeting last. Great. Thanks again. Appreciate it. Next item on the agenda.
So Bruce and board, governance council members, as part of the Black Education Act, we do training with the staff each year, and they have several components to what they want us to do and post. What I gave you a copy of, and it's very short, and I can read it here, is basically a statement, and it's about racialized aggression that we will put in our Black Education Act plan, which is required by the state, and also on our website under policies. And let me just pull it up here. Okay. So racialized aggression is aggressive act of hatred or bigotry based on real or perceived disability, race, ethnicity, color, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, national origin or ancestry, religion, age, veteran status, HIV status, pregnancy, and/or any other protected status as defined by law. Any aggressive act that can be characterized, categorized, or that appears as such to be racial in nature. They also ask for consequences, and these are actually pretty standardized. I didn't change a lot of what I found, and it rolls into our discipline policy pretty easily. So for primary years, kindergarten to third grade, there are intervention strategies. If we see this type of behavior, they don't exceed a maximum consequences of the fourth and fifth grade. General practice for K3 is a suspension of no more than 3 days for a single incident and no referral to hearing. So take care of it. And just,
Excuse me, Mark, your board went off?
Yeah.
The whiteboard? Promethean board?
I don't know why it would go. Let me just check the Zoom to make sure it didn't lose.
New user, guest, are you a guest? New user.
Oh, there's my hand.
This one,
Yeah, it is.
but you were the new user?
No, it's got to go through Michelle. Well, I'm assuming this will do.
It should be.
Oh, odd. Let me get back to this real quick. You know, we don't try to ever suspend. Kids don't learn anything that way, but it is part of at least a tiered response. And then additional consequences allowed with repeat offenses. Up to fourth and fifth grade, we utilize intervention strategies, consequences, disposition, or pending the outcome of an investigation. A first violation can be up to long-term suspension hearing, and then any repeat violations, and I missed an A there, which I'll correct before we post, of course, but may cause removal from the program. Middle years plus 11th and 12th grade utilize intervention strategies, consequences, disposition, or pending the outcome of an investigation. First violation of the long-term suspension hearing, and then repeat violations also may cause removal from the program. Whole place is falling apart. So this is basically what they wanted from as a policy from the public education department, and that's what I've proposed to you. I'm sorry.
That each bullet is a progression, or?
That's kind of how it's written, yes.
And what are the intervention strategies? Or is it extensive, or can we possibly just them?
It may vary. Intervention strategies might be as simple as talking to parents and bringing them in to talk to the kid. It could be talking with our counselor, sorry. Yes. Or it might be more. It might be some type of response from the child itself and working within the classroom or within the school to do some role playing, maybe write an apology, things like that. So it's basically to let the child realize that the words and actions are very harmful to other people. Now, honestly, I don't see this happen very often at our school because of our program and also the type of kids we get.
And kids in multiple grades. There's a lot of shooting with Native kids. There was shooting with each other, with the N-word. There's been for several years, the kids in lots of racial jokes, and they laugh, but then they're
Well, as we see it, we do deal with it, and this is now, at least for as far as the aggression part goes into policy.
Is this going to be a board policy, or is it?
It's more of a school policy, and it's added to the discipline policy.
Okay.
But it's important for the board to know what we're doing and approve it.
I apologize to interrupt here. I'm a little lost as to where this is coming in from, because I know we did the, why is this being brought up? What is the purpose of this?
The state requires it. So as part of our Black Education Plan, they ask for us to develop a racial, and they give guidelines for it, aggression policy and how to deal with it. And they want it when we do our we have an evaluation through the state and there's different components and part of it is the Black Education Act and we have to post it through their site to show that we've done it. And the board, I brought it before them to just approve it. So this is kind of normal stuff, the policies we have to do for them to approve.
Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but a lot of times the public education department will make mandates that if you're going to receive any type of federal funding, you have to have certain policies in place. And so it sounds to me like this may be one of those kinds of policies.
In this policy, is there a place, or would it even be the right place to put it, where you could have an intervention for a student that feels like they're receiving this kind of treatment and maybe they're not speaking up about it, or not a mediation program, mentoring program that the kids do with each other, or I don't know, I'm just, would that be included in this kind of policy? Or is
This policy was very directed and they just wanted, they sent out a thing in December and say, we want each school to have this. And so that just, but there's a lot of things we can take from this and look at as far as response to these things, yes. But for this policy, they were very directed and this was what they wanted.
Anything else regarding?
No, we do, I believe, have a discussion and an action though.
Oh, okay, we do.
So I'll motion.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you.
One thing I would say that under the utilize intervention strategies, if we could just expand it to say for the situation or buried somewhere that it's very specific to the situation.
Our discipline policies do say that.
Do say that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as appropriate.
As
I'm
intervention.
sorry.
Said, could it be added to this one to either direct to the discipline policy or to expand that sentence just know that it's per situation or dependent on the situation?
Yeah, I think we'd be okay by just saying as per the situation requires. Something to that effect. There's policies and there's procedures. And so this is a policy, then the procedures would be what strategies can you utilize in a density? Particularly with the board level. Things get the procedural things down more to the school level. Yeah. Very good. Interesting. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks. CIS grievance policy. As I mentioned earlier in response to the public comments, that we do have a grievance policy that's contained within the family handbook and hasn't been part of our board policy. So I took a look at that and I made one change to what's in the family handbook, because the family handbook didn't mention staff members. But I think any grievance policy that's adopted at the board level should include staff members. They have issues, they have some remedy recourse. So that's why I'm presenting this to you tonight. It's identical. It's in the family handbook with that exception. It says any staff member, parent, or guardian with a complaint must follow these procedures, and then it stipulates what those procedures are. Any discussion?
I think it's good for the staff.
What we're trying to do too, what I'm trying to do in my vision is we have a set of bylaws.
Right.
And that's kind of what we do. And then we have policies on how we do them. So that's what this policy would be part of those policies on how we conduct the business of the governing council per our bylaws.
I appreciate you updating that too. I really do. We have it
Well,
right. It's good.
Well, thanks. I know it's
So,
not the stuff.
so am I correct then to, okay, so it is not in the New Mexico opening or Open Meeting Act, but it is in our handbook. Is that correct? Is that what I'm hearing?
It's in the family handbook.
We're
That's
talking
okay.
about
That's what I thought, because I just, yeah, I'd opened the New Mexico Open Meeting Act, and I was like, well, that's, yeah, I didn't see it there. So, okay, I just want to know where I can locate that. Okay.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is head of school evaluation plan. And what I've done is took a look at several evaluation plans that other schools are using for their head administrator. And then coming up with something that's concrete, easy to follow, and it's a policy for us to abide by in evaluating at a school. So, but basically, it says that the evaluation process, there are several components to the evaluation process. One would be a mid-year review, and then there would be an end-of-the-year review. There would be a formal evaluation form that each of the governing council members would fill out. But as part of this process too, there's input from the head administrator. We set goals as a governing council for the head administrator, but we do this in conjunction with the head administrator. And the reason that evaluations are done this way, so that there's no surprises. Everybody knows what the expectations are. And everybody knows how the head administrator is going to be evaluated and when they're going to be evaluated. For those of you out there, the governing council has one employee in this district, in this school. That's Mr. Tolley. That's the only person we get to hire or fire. So we don't have any jurisdiction technically over the evaluations of teachers and other staff members. And we're required by law to have a process in place and to make sure that we do an evaluation of our head administrator every year. So that's what I presented to the board tonight it's an introduction and for some discussion this evening, and then for possible approval at our next board meeting. As part of the evaluation form, there are 6 components that have to do with vision, creating a vision, and following the vision of the school, rating for instruction, advocating the nature and sustaining the school culture and program, conducive to student learning. The next one is organization facilities, taking care of all of our facilities and managing the organization well, and connecting with the community, communications with the community, and ethics, acting with integrity and fairness in an ethical manner, and social and political environments, understanding and responding to influences within the political context of the school, and in regards also to social, economic, and legal, cultural environments also. So those will be the components or the standards that Mr. Tolley we would expect Mr. Tolley to uphold, and then we'll have specific criteria that we would like to see within each of those standards. And then the criteria that we use to judge whether he meets those standards or not would be agreed upon by the board and Mr. Tolley together, and we would go ahead and formal evaluation at the end of the year. His evaluations are closed to the public, and they're discussed in an executive session or the public meeting. Again, the law doesn't allow us to discuss personnel issues in public. So I offer this to you and appreciate any comments suggestion?
You said.
Sorry,
the-
this is a board meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
I appreciate you adding the mid-year review for us to discuss. So I think that was a good addition.
Okay, thank you.
That one
It'll be on the agenda
next.
for approval at our next meeting.
Great.
Okay. Any comments, any other comments, suggestions?
Just again, thank you for
Oh,
working on
you're quite welcome. Fun stuff. Okay. Executive session to discuss limited personnel issues. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session. It's been moved. Oh, I gotta read the whole paragraph, that's right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And it cut off a little bit, so
No, you can do it. You have it.
it cut off a little bit. So at the end of, are you reading the language to go into closed session?
Yes.
At the end there, closed session to discuss is the last word, and then the last part is open meeting act, so.
All right. I'll motion to move that the Governance Council of Corrales International School convene in a closed session to discuss limited personnel matters related to staffing as authorized by section 10-15-1 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act.
So at this time, we clear everybody out to where the board just speaks with me. We will put the people that are online into a breakout room and then bring you back when we're done if you want to stay and I don't know, we don't have a lounge, but if you want to hang out in the hall or go up front and have a seat or whatever, we'll make sure and call everybody back when the board is ready to reconvene.
Thank you all. Thank you.